I'm at the north end of Hamilton on Highway 93. In an earlier video, I said the north end of Hamilton is not quite as charming as downtown. So here's closer to where we have big box stores. Here we have a Dairy Queen. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love Dairy Queen. I think ahead, that might be Burger King. Royalty here. And so from here, from downtown, actually to the Riverside Cutoff, there is no traffic lights across this road. So it can be not as pleasant on a bicycle or for pedestrians such as they are. In any case, we are going to see something more pleasant in a minute. We're going into this turn-in and we're going to Hieronymus Park. Here's the entrance to Hieronymus Park. Maybe named after early settler Amos Hieronymus. Right there, you have Bitterroot River Inn and Convention Center. Hamilton is not a tourist destination on the scale of, Whitefish or something, but there are people who come here, and so there is a fair amount of hotels. There's more hotels and hospitality than would be normal in a city of this size. And here we have some type of ropes course. That looks like a fun thing to do on a different day, and if I was maybe younger. And the last time we saw something like that was actually in Mall Oxyheno. And here is part of a memorial, a veterans memorial. Looks like what would be a modified M113, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, well, that was the entrance to the park, and that's also where, we're going to see most of the facilities and whatnot. From here, it's mostly a nature park. And here to our left, we have a body of water that certainly does not look natural, or at least it's been heavily modified, and that's one of the many irrigation canals. The network and the origin of the different irrigation canals that go through the Bitterroot Valley is really complicated, and at times has been political hot potato. In any case, this looks like there is water in it, but I don't know if this is just incidental water or if it's actually running by now. There's also some ducks there. Anyway, so I'm going to continue this way. So here we have a shrub that has totally leafed out. And when I was at Blodgett Park last week, I was saying you could see that things were just starting to leaf. And here you can see it's pretty much completely out. There was some bumblebees buzzing around as well. And spring comes late here, but when it comes here, it can come very fast. So continuing along the path, we have some benches here. We also have a bridge here, and if you cross that bridge and go that way, you go back into the center of town, or the northern edge of the center of town, into residential neighborhoods. So in a lot of my videos, I talk about how to categorize parks, and some of that depends on where you were. In a lot of cities, this would be a gigantic nature park. Because there's not a lot of people here, there's not a lot of facilities, it's mostly natural, pretty big park. But because this is Hamilton and people, if they want a natural experience, they can go to a place like Roaring Lion Canyon or something. This is actually, in terms here, this is just like a normal neighborhood park. People just walk here from the residential parts to walk their dogs. As I've mentioned, the usage of space is much different here. There's a lot of space, and so things that would be very big in other places are just, medium size here. Here we have some Canada geese. 3 of them. There might be more. In this direction, we have some type of ducks. I couldn't see what they were, but they didn't look like mallards. In any case, for reasons you can imagine, Montana is a great place to watch birds, and even here in a basic city park, you can see lots of species of birds. So here, I'm walking my bicycle along this narrow path. If I was spending more time here, I'd probably lock it up so I could walk around freely. But we're just going to go down to the water there. So this park is north of Steve Powell Park. We visited a couple weeks ago. And it is south of where 93 crosses the river, and then you go on to Blodgett. And so in Hamilton, there is a variety of river access, and it's actually quite nice. And even a little park like this, or relatively little park like this, there's a lot to see here and a lot of tranquility right by the river. So there's the Bitterroot. It's running very concentrated and close together. We're going to walk along this path right here, and we're going to go back to the highway. So there is a bench here. As you can see, that's a pretty basic bench. Looks like a piece of wood on 2 poles. So the facilities are minor here, but people don't come here for the benches. They come here for the river. And one other thing, I said that spring does go very quickly, but you can see not too quickly because a lot of these trees are still bare, especially the large ones. And I still think that they will be coming out in a couple days, but maybe more than that. So maybe I'm contradicting myself. Right here, that's a hawthorn. I think this is also a hawthorn, and so those are leafing out. Interesting, I think maybe my intuition of the order of when plants come out was a little wrong. In any case, now I want to get off of this path and back there to reconnect, and hopefully I can do that. There's a bird going by. Let you know how fast the river is, which is actually pretty fast. That bird has places to be. Well, I guess this is about as close as we can see each other. My friend Jelena lives on the other side of the river, so I said she could come out and we could wave at each other. Pretty hard to communicate more than that. I'll have to ask her whether we can put this in the video. Hi! I hope that's her. I hope that's you. So I'm walking back to the main path. If I was spending more time here, I would have definitely locked up my bike rather than trying to walk it around. But it is what it is, as the kids say. So this is not a gigantic park, but the amount of time you could spend here, you could easily spend an hour here on a leisurely stroll, especially down by the river. And I'm going to rejoin this path in a second. Also, interestingly, earlier I thought I saw a snake, a garter snake, swimming in the canal. That'd also be somewhat ironic because I was in Costa Rica for 5 months without seeing a snake, and then I see one in a terrain that is much less hospitable. On the other hand, I'm probably glad I didn't see any snakes in Costa Rica. So one thing to say, just to be a little bit critical as I leave the park, is one thing that's kind of a contradiction for me is the difference between how much, beautiful natural areas are protected and how much they form a part of the town life, the community life, and then the otherwise, other environmental things like, road use where it's assumed everybody will have a car and things are very car-centric, and those highways just physically take up a lot of space, difficult to be a pedestrian. And one thing about that is just in a place where you have so much land, when people can go into a national forest and spend hours there, it's less important at first to protect every square foot of land. But that is something that occurs to me because people here in some ways can be really appreciative of nature, and there's a lot of protection of nature. But in other places, it's like, wow, this use of land is really ugly, to be frank. Anyway, so I don't want to leave it on too bad of a note because I did have a good time here. But, when I was looking at that highway and how difficult it was to maneuver, yeah, I did see the contradiction there.